Hello guys, welcome to today's video. Today I am starting a new series, that is Java 101 for interviews. It will be a comprehensive playlist on topics which are important for interviews. We will be covering the fundamentals of loops concepts, collections, multi-threading, streams and Lambda, and we'll also discuss some specific questions that usually comes in interviews. So please hit the subscribe button now to receive updates about new videos that I'll be adding in this playlist. In today's video, I'll give you a brief history of Java and its evolution. So let's go back in time. The first version of Java was released on 23rd January 1996 by Sun Microsystems. James Gosling is the inventor of the language, who was an employee at Sun Microsystems at that time. Java was created as a fully object-oriented language with platform independence in mind. Write once, run anywhere. That is, a program written in Java could be executed on all operating systems that had JVM installed. Since its first release, Java has evolved and changed its form significantly. Let's go through some major milestones in the journey of Java. After a couple of years of first release, that is in 1998, Java 1.2 came. This version had three different variants of Java. They were Standard Edition, Enterprise Edition, and Micro Edition. The Standard Edition had the core library, that is, whatever the classes that were written for Java initially, they were part of the Standard Edition along with the JDK and the JVM. The Java C compiler also was part of this Standard Edition. So basically it contained all the necessary libraries and the environment that were required to run a Java application. Then the next variant was Enterprise Edition. Enterprise Edition contained everything that the Standard Edition had. Apart from that, it had some additional features like servlets, JDBC, JPA, Mail API, JTA, that is Java Transaction API. So these APIs, they were like specifications. Any applications developed according to these specifications were considered as Java Enterprise Edition compliant, that is J2EE compliant. Then the third variant was like Micro Edition. This was a like lighter JDK variant. It was generally used for dumb phones, like dumb mobiles that were like popular in those times. Because it was a lighter version, it was like appropriate to use in those devices that were memory constrained. Till this time, only Sun Microsystems was responsible for the development of Java. But then they formed a community to include all interested parties in the development process of Java. This was called Java Community Process, or JCP. After that, they were responsible for the developments of new features. Now each iteration of development went through these steps. That is like initiation, draft development, community and public review, final approval, ballot, and maintenance. One more term that you need to be aware of is Java Specification Request, that is JSR. It is the standard template using which feature requests are submitted. Every major version usually has a JSR attached to it. In 2002, the next version, that is Java 1.4, was released. It was the first version developed under JCP. The JSR related to this release was JSR 59. All the subsequent versions were developed under JCP from now onwards. Next major update for Java happened in 2004. Actually, major is an understatement here. The update was so huge that even the versioning system was modified. Instead of 1.5, it was called 5.0. Although the internal developer version remained 1.5. So Java version was 5 but the JDK version was 1.5. This version included like generics, enhanced for loops, autoboxing and unboxing, enums, annotations, executor service for concurrency. Each of these updates were a huge step in the evolution of Java. Now we'll just briefly go over them. Now let's see the generics. Here, the code that is written here is the old piece of code. That is how the code used to be written before the generics was declared, and this is the code that is written after generics was declared. If you see here, like the declaration here, we are just using string while defining the variable, but here it is raw. So if you see here, I am trying to add a couple of elements in that list here. Here if you see, the first element is string, but the second element is integer. And when I try to write in this line that list dot get 1, that is I'm trying to fetch this integer, but I'm doing the typecasting into string. So what happens here is, like, when the code is written, it does not give any compilation error, but when we deploy the code and run it, at the runtime this exception is thrown. So that's an issue, right? Now with generics there is no such issue. If we try to add some integer element, at the compilation time itself we will get the error. That's the advantage of using generics. The next is enhanced for loop. Here a new type of syntax for loop was provided. Using this syntax, the code became more readable, easier to understand, and programmers didn't need to think about iterators. That's how the code used to be written earlier, but with this new type of syntax, the programmer did not need to think about iterator anymore, and he or she could focus on the business requirement or the actual problem at hand that needs to be solved. The next item was autoboxing and unboxing. So there used to be primitive data types, and a wrapper class was provided around those primitive data types. If you see here, the int primitive data type had integer wrapper class. Similarly, for float and double existed wrapper classes. So with autoboxing and unboxing, it became easier to convert from primitive data type to wrapper data type. Now integer data type also contained some of the inbuilt methods, I'm talking about the wrapper classes here. If you see here, pint.toInteger is providing error, but if we use the wrapper integer, that is wint here, in that scenario we don't get any error because the toString method is defined for integer, that is the wrapper class. If you see here in line number 2, we are just assigning the primitive integer value to the wrapper integer value. If you see closely, we are not doing any type of typecasting. This typecasting from primitive data type to wrapper class is happening automatically. This is called autoboxing and unboxing. It is being handled by Java itself. Next is enums. Enums are usually used for fixed data types. Here is an example of enum, that is day of week. As you can see, the week can only contain these 7 days. Here the data is fixed. So using enum for such scenarios is useful. The next thing that came in this update was annotations. You must have seen these annotations like author, @suppress warnings, @deprecated. These annotations are usually used by the compilers or your IDEs. They are consider them as metadata. Using these data, they handle many things. Now let's understand it using the example of deprecated. If you see here, I have I have declared a variable of thread, and when I try to like see what are the methods that is coming here, in that case, like you can see that check SS method, there is a white strike around it. What it means is the ID is telling me that this method is deprecated. How it knows that is by this. Here the check SS, while defining the method, they have used this @deprecated annotation. By using this annotation, they are telling that this method is no longer like supported. That's how the ID understands it, and it provides that strike line around. And if you want to see the definition of any annotation, let's see that. Here the deprecated annotation, this is the definition of that annotation. Using this interface syntax, we can define an annotation, and a particular annotation can also be annotated. If you see here, like @documentation, @retention, @target, these are the annotations that are applied to this particular annotation also. So the next thing is like executor services for concurrency. This is something that made multi-threading coding easier. We will be discussing in detail about this in later videos, but for now, like understand that thread pool is the concept that were like introduced using this. So it increased the performance of the systems, like concurrent systems, and it made the code like more maintainable, easier to maintain. Java 5 was a turning point for the Java platform. It made Java more powerful, more developer friendly, and it increased the productivity of developer. As you can see, like with annotations and these things, it became easier and more productive. Next comes the year 2006. This year something very important happened that changed the future of Java forever. In 2006, Sun Microsystems open sourced the core part of Java, that is the standard edition, under GNU license. This led to the creation of project OpenJDK. What it meant was, now companies could use OpenJDK to develop their own softwares using core Java and distribute it commercially. So many companies started offering their own flavor of OpenJDKs. Some of the popular ones are these, that is Eclipse Temurin, Microsoft's version, Red Hat, Amazon, Azure, Zulu. Sun also provided their own JDK. All of them provided support and performance tuning for their JDKs. The support services provided by them is called LTS, that is long-term support. LTS support is provided only on some versions. These versions are more robust, secure, stable, making them a reliable choice for organizations to adopt in their projects. In 2006 also a new version of Java was released. In this version the names were modified. J2SC became Java SC, J2EE became Java EE. The next milestone point was 2010. In 2010, Sun Microsystems was acquired by Oracle and their JDK was renamed as Oracle JDK. Till 2017, Java EE was maintained by Oracle under the Java community process. After that, Oracle submitted Java EE to Eclipse Foundation. As Java is a trademark of Oracle, the new name of Java EE was changed to Jakarta EE. A point of trivia here, The name Java comes from the coffee produced in Java Island. Java Island is in Indonesia. This is Sumatra, this is Java Island. So coffee is produced in this island, and the Java, the icon also, the coffee icon comes from there. And Jakarta is the capital of this Java Island. Okay, so we covered all the major milestones in the history of Java. It still continues to grow and evolve with an ever expanding, vibrant community. Here is a list of major versions. You can see the list of the versions here and the year in which they were released and the respective JSR that was linked to that particular version. If you want, you can find this data at this website also, www.java.com/releases. Here you can see the upcoming versions that are planned. The next feature is 25 LTS, that which is planned on 2025 September. Here you can see all the versions, both major and minor. So you can see the here like version 8. If you see, it had a particular JSR, like this is version 9 major. Before that, the previous major version was this 8 LTS. Here if you want, you can see the JSR, the details of the JSR. If you want, it will take you to the jcp.org, that is the official website of the JCP community. Here all the like JSR at different stages, how they were, they are recorded here. Here like final release, if you want, you can just download it here. I have already downloaded it. So this is the JSR. It contains all the requirements. If you can see here, like Lambda expressions and everything, all the things that were introduced in this version, they are written here. One more URL that you should be aware of is this dev.java. Here you can find all the latest information, news related to Java. So this is the home page of it. You can find tutorials and resources for studies, latest news, events, playground. Here you can write your own code and test it. So yeah, that's it. That concludes today's video. I hope you found the video informative. Please leave a like and subscribe for updates on new videos. Thanks for watching. Namaskar.